How's it going, guys? My name is Wilson. Kevin Durant decides to remain with the Brooklyn Nets, and this is August 23rd, 2022. Literally 2 months of nothing from free agency because Kevin Durant stalling everybody, holding a lot of good players hostage, and now let's just move forward and talk about the following season 2022-2023. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, a big three with extreme talent. All three of them, if they get a chance to play on the court in their first game, they should be the best big three in the league. Just think about it from a talent perspective. You have a lethal scorer. You got Ben Simmons, who's 6'10", who can pass. He doesn't need to score. He doesn't need to put up 20 points a game. If he could just play basketball, and if Kyrie Irving just wants to play basketball without any distractions, we know how talented all three of those players are. But two of those players, you never know from their attitudes. Questionable decision making. They want to sit out. I mean, Kyrie Irving. I mean, there's not going to be any like vaccine like requirements or whatnot. So that thing can be left aside. He just won't play in Toronto. Ben Simmons, who knows what he's been doing all offseason, but I guarantee you're going to see a lot of Ben Simmons posts in the next couple of weeks, excited to join the team because that's who Ben Simmons is. If he sees Kevin Durant there, of course he's gonna stay. And obviously, this was the best decision that Kevin Durant probably could have made. Every team wants him, but the Nets, I mean, they did a smart thing for trying to get every team's like 5 first-round picks. Give us like 2 other stars. Give us this. Oh, give us Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. Oh, give us this. Oh, give us Jaylen Brown and all those picks. I mean, obviously, the Kevin Durant was left in a tough position if he wanted to get traded. Why would the Brooklyn Nets want to trade one of the best players, top 15 player all time, who coming off a season averaging 30 points a game, playing 2/3 of the season? Why would they want to trade him for a bunch of first-round picks if they wanted to get him in free agency in the first place for a chance to contend for a championship? This is a franchise that never won a championship. This is a franchise that never won more than 70% of their games, I believe. And this is a franchise that's has the best opportunity to try to win a championship. The roster is just absolutely talented. Absolutely talented. And man, 2 months, man, 2 months. I mean, we've been dying for some NBA news for a long time, and we could have all taken a 2 month hiatus. Everybody on ESPN could have just stopped talking basketball for 2 months and just rest up instead of just sucking in all those debates like, oh, where's Russell Westbrook going? Oh, Kyrie, he's going to go to the Lakers. But you know what, Laker fans? I mean, today is Kobe Bryant's birthday, so rest in peace to Kobe. Wish him a 44th in heaven. But the Lakers, it's tough. Just move on. The Lakers are not getting Kyrie Irving because the Nets, KD, and Kyrie Irving, KD doesn't like to play with Russell. It's just a tough day for Laker fans on Kobe's birthday to hear the news that Kevin Durant is going back to the Brooklyn Nets, obviously, playing with Kyrie Irving. And this is Kyrie Irving's year to really shine too, because Kyrie Irving, he's under contract for 1 year. If he really wants big money, he's probably going to have to figure out and know that he can't really sit out and make excuses to not play certain games. So if Kyrie Irving can just settle all his personal stuff aside and play like, let's say 65 of 82 games, and he performs and averages good numbers, and the Nets go on to win like 58 games, Kyrie Irving's probably going to get a big contract. So this is a year for him to prove. This is a year for Ben Simmons to prove. And Ben Simmons can play the Andrew Wiggins role with Golden State. How Andrew Wiggins, he couldn't be the man in Minnesota because there's a lot of pressure. He took a lot of heat. I mean, Ben Simmons is not good when it comes to pressure and taking heat and getting ridiculed. But for the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant obviously will get ridiculed first, and obviously Kyrie Irving second. So Ben Simmons, that can leave him off the hook at some point. But what are the Nets going to do with Steve Nash now? Are they going to keep Steve Nash? I guess they are because, I mean, Kevin Durant, it seems like when he was talking to Joe Tsai, some of the news says that, oh, it's either that you got to choose me or Sean Marks or Steve Nash. So, or are we going to hear that Sean Marks or Steve Nash going to get fired and the Nets are going to get a new coach because it's October 23rd. The regular season starts in about 6 weeks. Training camp starts in about like less than a month. Whoa. So you got training camp starting less than a month. Kevin Durant's got to build some chemistry with the Nets now. I mean, he's got to figure out how to mesh with Ben Simmons, all your teammates. Set up a group chat. Just meet up, have some dinner, let everyone get to know each other. Stop being so awkward with everybody. And Ben Simmons, don't let Ben Simmons be awkward because Ben Simmons is not going anywhere else. So just have some fun with your teammates. Set up like a group meeting, get a couple drinks, just get to know each other, bond. Because at the end of the day, there's a 8 month period like from now, an 8 month period, that good teams with good chemistry and good leadership that bonds trying to compete and contend for a championship. And I have to give credit to LeBron James, what he did with that 2020 Lakers team. He bonded with Anthony Davis on the first day, pretty much AD signed. He got the team all together, all the guys like Danny Green and KCP, and even though Kuzma was getting bashed, I mean, LeBron was able to get all that 2020 Laker team together. Rondo was a good signing too, and Dwight Howard was not a head case that season. So the Nets, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving needs a lot of that. They just need to bond with the team and just be open, just welcome everyone with open arms. Like say what's good to Ben Simmons, say what's good to Seth Curry, still on that team, Patty Mills, TJ Warren off the bench. TJ Warren's a guy that can fill it up and score 20 points if he's healthy. He hasn't been healthy in 2 years, but if you have KD going down or he wants to rest because of age and whatnot and not play as many games, TJ Warren is a bucket getter. Just think about this team on paper too. You have Kyrie Irving, you have Joe Harris, Seth Curry, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons. Just look at this team, and you have Royce O'Neal off the bench. He was solid for Utah. I mean, Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton. I do think that the Nets need a lot of need a more of like a backup center too. Ben Simmons is going to play the Draymond role. He can obviously rebound too. I mean, the Nets front line is very, very small, but at least like you have Ben Simmons, if he can figure it out. Like if Ben Simmons was playing in that series against Boston and was like a Draymond type guy averaging like 13, like 8 and 7, Brooklyn probably would have won that series. Let's be honest now, because they had no match against Tatum and Brown. They were destroying the lineup of Seth Curry and Patty Mills and Kyrie at the court at the same time. Steve Nash got to really figure this shit out, man. Steve Nash, if he stays with coach with the Brooklyn Nets, because he is still a terrible coach in my opinion. He doesn't know how to adapt. He has no answers for Ime Udoka. So Steve Nash, he's got to get his shit together and figure it out. But he can't handle Kyrie Irving and let Kyrie does whatever he wants. Kyrie has been a head case for a while with the Brooklyn Nets, so it's just going to be really tough. But this Brooklyn Nets team is stacked as hell. They are so stacked. Kevin Durant, you could still say he's a top 5 player in the game. Kyrie Irving, I would say, is like a top 20 player. I would say I'm going to make a video of a top 25 player list coming out like in a few days. Ben Simmons, if he's healthy, if Ben Simmons can get his shit together and stop like complaining and making excuses, Ben Simmons is arguably a top 15 talent in the league. He's a defensive player of the year candidate, Ben Simmons. If Ben Simmons actually has heart and plays hard, he's a way better version of Draymond Green. I mean, he pretty much is Draymond Green with all the athleticism that Draymond Green can't even dream to have. So you have that going on for the Nets too. And would you say Brooklyn Nets is the favorite? I mean, right now, I would not pump the I would pump the brakes a little bit. I would not say they're the favorites yet. Obviously, you got the Boston Celtics who's coming off a championship contending finals, and they won 2 games and they added Malcolm Brogdon. I would say Boston and Milwaukee still the favorite in the East because Giannis been with Chris Middleton for pretty much all his career, and Drew Holiday, this is going to be his 3rd season with the Bucks already. So now you have the Bucks with great chemistry, and they were probably Chris Middleton injury away from winning another championship. And then you got the Boston Celtics who has excellent chemistry too, and they still got all their team back. So those teams with chemistry, I rank them ahead of the Brooklyn Nets. I still do, even though I do think Brooklyn is more talented now with Simmons. And if Simmons can really man up, I mean, he can be a matchup problem to try to slow down Giannis. And we see how that goes. If Ben Simmons can play Giannis well, I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks have no answers for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant shit on Milwaukee. He had a tough time against Boston. But then if you got a guy like Ben Simmons who can try to guard Jason Tatum and contain Tatum the way how Andrew Wiggins was able to contain him, and Wiggins defensively, he's going to be tired and KD's going to cook. Because that was a playoff series last year where the Nets, they just like everybody just came back. Him and Kyrie played only like season games together. They had no chemistry. They were playing a lot of ISO ball. And with Ben Simmons likes to share the ball around. And Kyrie Irving can also play off the ball because he's an excellent shooter. Just think about all the shooters that the Brooklyn Nets have. You have Kyrie Irving, who can shoot 40% from three. He can knock down 5 threes a game. You have Steph Curry, who's a really good shooter. You have Joe Harris, who had the best shooting percentage from three, like over the last like couple seasons before his injury. And Joe Harris is 6'6", so he's a pretty he has some size that adds up to him, so the Nets won't be too bad of a defensive liability. Patty Mills is still on that team, and Patty Mills was excellent in the regular season. We've seen how Patty Mills is able to knock down threes when he had a facilitator like James Harden, and now with a facilitator like Simmons. I mean, Patty Mills can literally play the Philadelphia 76ers JJ Redick type role, because I believe he's like in his mid-30s already. Redick was in his mid-30s with the Sixers, and he was one of the most important assets offensively, shooting the ball. So I believe Patty Mills can play like a JJ Redick type role there. So the Nets have everything pretty much. They have everything offensively that you can want, from a 30-point scorer in Durant, a 25-point scorer in Irving, Ben Simmons, 15, 8, and 8 guy, pretty much like almost a triple-double guy with defensive player of the year potential, possibly, if he could get his shit together. You have Royce O'Neal, who's pretty solid off the bench, and Joe Harris can knock down threes too. Steph Curry can knock down threes, and you got ISO scorer and TJ Warren off the bench as a sixth man. This team is super talented. They are so talented, man. TJ Warren, you seen him drop like 53 points in the bubble? That was insane. I mean, he's obviously not going to be that good, but you got him, and then you have Nick Claxton, who needs to pick up some weight. I mean, he's still very, very fragile and very finesse. I mean, he's still like, I think like 22 years old. So you got guys like him. They are so stacked on paper, this Brooklyn Nets team. If this Nets team don't make it to the conference finals with this roster as it currently stands, and there's been no injuries, that would be an absolute travesty. There is no excuses now for Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons to try to contend for a championship in 2023. KD and Kyrie, they signed with the Nets in 2019. And guess what? They won one series in 3 years. One series. They played like 43 total games together in 3 seasons. 3 seasons. So this is the year, the no excuses. I mean, of course, they were unhappy with the organization, with Coach Nash. And obviously, the vaccine mandates like fucked a lot of things up with Kyrie Irving just not being available. But Kyrie also has his own personal issues and make a lot of excuses why he's not playing. That led to James Harden being traded out. James Harden demanded a trade going to Philly. And now James Harden, guess what? James Harden's probably really scared that if Ben Simmons can get his shit together and Kyrie is rejuvenated and healthy, I think James Harden's probably scared. So that's too bad for the Philadelphia 76ers. But I mean, I do think that the Sixers and Nets, that would be an insane series. Can you imagine Ben Simmons going back to Philly, playing in that hostile environment? But with the Nets, like, Joel Embiid would absolutely destroy the Nets. I mean, as good as this team is, they have no answers for someone like Joel Embiid. I mean, who's going to be their center? Nick Claxton, he's going to get mauled by Embiid. I mean, Ben Simmons would get destroyed by Embiid. So the Nets' biggest weakness is against elite centers. Like, they have literally no big men, honestly. And Joel Embiid can average 40 points. He would go Will Chamberlain on this team. So the Brooklyn Nets, they have to get their shit together. Thank you, Kenny, for joining. Thank you, everyone else, for joining here. I'm about to actually fly out to Texas in a couple hours. So thank you so much for just watching me do my live reaction. The regular season, I didn't skip the regular season. They'll be fine. The Nets are going to win 50-plus games, probably. They have too much weapons, honestly. I mean, if KD misses like 1/3 of the season, if he gets injured again, let's say plays like 55 of 82 games, and Kyrie probably was going to play like 55 to 65 games, and Ben Simmons probably going to play like 60 games-ish, they still got guys like they can rely on. Like this team without Kevin Durant, just take away Kevin Durant. You got Ben Simmons if he's able to figure out, and then you got like Patty Mills in one wing, and you have Joe Harris in another wing, and you have Steph Curry moving without the ball, getting open threes, and then you have a scorer like TJ Warren, and you can draw up lob to Nick Claxton. Tell me not, that team can win a lot of games. That team without Kevin Durant, they could still win like 3-4 games in a row just by having Ben Simmons with a bunch of shooters and Kyrie Irving. Just think about how good Ben Simmons was in the 2018 playoffs without Joel Embiid in a certain series. Think about how good Ben Simmons was when he destroyed Miami. He was banged up when he had shoot Ben Simmons was doing damage. If Ben Simmons can continue doing that and just build up his confidence, there's no reason why the Brooklyn Nets cannot contend for a championship. They absolutely could contend. Ben Simmons, he needs to get his act together. Kyrie Irving needs to get his act together. The only way to do that, Kevin Durant, you're the best player on the team. Kevin Durant, get in that group chat, get along with your teammates, get to know them, develop some bond and chemistry, make everybody feel at home. If there's a head coach that can do that, great. I mean, I guess the vet that the Brooklyn Nets have, they have. I mean, Patty Mills is probably their oldest player on the roster right now. So Patty Mills, I mean, he was under that San Antonio Spurs system with Greg Popovich, and obviously Sean Marks was with San Antonio at that time. So the Nets, I do think they need to sign maybe one more vet, a guy that's like a good locker room guy, a good presence, and a guy that might not play much. But the Nets last season also, I do believe that one of their biggest losses that was very underrated and that gets swept under the rug. How about Uncle Jeff Green? I mean, Jeff Green was literally their second best player in Game 5 versus Milwaukee. Even though Jeff Green's like 36 years old right now, Jeff Green is a good leader. He's a good vet. He's also a good role player and a leader by example. He knows what it takes to win. And Jeff Green was a guy that the Nets absolutely missed last season when there was chaos between Kyrie Irving not being able to play home games and everything screwing up. And Kevin Durant, he's not a natural leader, so you can't expect much from him. He's a great player, but the Nets, I do think that they need to sign somebody with good leadership qualities and some vet and whatnot. Yeah, Jeff Green, he's very great. So the Nets definitely missed that. I mean, I heard Aaron Baines is trying to make an NBA comeback after a serious injury that he had that was serious news. So just someone like that. I mean, could the Nets sign Carmelo Anthony? I don't think they need him. I mean, could they sign someone like a tough guy on their team like a Markieff Morris? Who knows, man? Who knows? So you have all these free agents holding hostile because of the impact of Kevin Durant. How he delays everything is just absolutely crazy. Colin Sexton, where the hell's he gonna go now? I think he's probably gonna sign back with Cleveland. That's just crazy. So you got Colin Sexton. He's still a free agent after averaging 24 points a game. And there's Miles Bridges. Screw that guy. That guy's a piece of shit. Like, I hope no team signs him, and he probably deserves to get time behind bars with his actions. Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder, two Six Man of the Year candidates 2 years ago, 1 and 2, and now like they're like not signed. Someone's gonna have to sign Montrezl Harrell. Absolutely, somebody will. I'm not sure who will. I could see maybe that's a really tough one. He's an energy guy. Maybe a bad team will sign him. Like, but in the playoffs, he's pretty unplayable. Dennis Schroeder, he's a good backup for another team. I thought if the Celtics had him last year and just relied on him to play make, he could have maybe helped them in the finals. LaMarcus Aldridge, I mean, does he want to deal with another season with KD and Kyrie? I mean, he just is just very unpredictable. I mean, he might just retire, honestly. Eric Bledsoe, he's not that good right now. I would stay away from him. Who's going to sign Carmelo Anthony? All these guys been free agents for the last 2 months, which is absolutely insane. Hassan Whiteside. Should the Nets sign Hassan Whiteside? Nah, he's not that good. He's also very old and he's not a good teammate, and he's super, super lazy. Super lazy. Jordan Nwaba, DJ Augustine. Who knows? Who knows? DeMarcus Cousins. Do you want the Nets to sign DeMarcus Cousins? I mean, he's not really a dread down low. He's not really a good defensive player right now, but he's also pretty tall. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, DeMarcus Cousins' attitude, I do give him credit. He's improved a lot the last couple of years. But do you want a team with Kyrie Irving's attitude, Ben Simmons' attitude, and DeMarcus Cousins when he gets emotional at times? Do you want to deal with that if you're the Brooklyn Nets? I don't think they're going to sign DeMarcus Cousins and Frank Jackson. I mean, how about Rajon Rondo? I mean, Rajon Rondo, even though he's washed right now, he might retire. He's a good locker room guy for the team. I mean, Rajon Rondo can potentially be a guy that will, I mean, him and Kyrie Irving will probably start fighting, let's be honest. If Kyrie's going to use his bullshit and Rondo hates that he's not playing. So, I don't know. Rondo might be too much. I mean, Kevin Durant, can he handle the pressure like of Rajon Rondo just criticizing everybody? I mean, Rajon Rondo want to give him a chance. That could either work out one of two ways. It can work out in the 2020 bubble where all the team, like the chemistry, everybody keeps afloat and the Nets bond and play their best that they could. Or Rondo and someone else like Ben Simmons might fight and Rondo probably gonna end up getting cut. So that can end up one of two ways for the Lakers. I mean, Blake Griffin still a free agent. Blake Griffin played his ass off. So in game 4 of that series, I believe game 3 or game 4, he played with all heart. He played with all heart. How about Tristan Thompson? I mean, can the Nets sign Tristan Thompson? He has all these Kardashian distractions. I mean, him and Ben Simmons probably gonna like start fighting between they're both Kardashian, or maybe they can get back together in Brooklyn. I mean, that's the Kardashian brothers right there. Tristan Thompson. I mean, Tristan Thompson's a great rebounder, and the Nets do need rebounding. They need someone that can crash the offensive glass and a big body, because Kevin Durant at times he can be fragile on the glass in the playoffs. So Tristan Thompson could be a guy off the bench where Nick Claxton can start. I can really see that happening too. I can see that happening. I mean, Lou Williams still a free agent. He might retire. Avery Bradley's pretty washed. Wow, there's a lot of free agents out there. Dwight Howard, I don't think they should sign Dwight Howard, man. Dwight Howard, Ben Simmons, and Kyrie Irving, those #1 picks. Oh my God, that would be too much. That would be way too much right there. Paul Millsap is still a free agent. So Kevin Durant stays with the Brooklyn Nets August 23rd. This should have been like July 3rd. This announcement should have happened 6 weeks ago. All these NBA players, like, they probably just like shitting their pants that they might not have gotten signed. So with that said, thank you so much for watching this video. And this was my reaction to Kevin Durant staying with the Brooklyn Nets. So got more stuff coming up for the next week. My videos are probably going to be very quiet. I'll probably post one video within the next week because I will be away for like a week and I probably won't have time to like make some NBA videos as I'm away. But with that said, like in September, I'm gonna make a lot of videos. I'm gonna make a lot of prediction videos and whatnot and all that. And how many of you guys also like, I don't use TikTok because I feel like that would take a lot of my time and social media is addicting. So I'm much on the older side if I use TikToks, but I'm thinking maybe just creating some NBA content on TikTok. If you guys are interested in that, just let me know in the chat or in the comments below. So with that said, more NBA news probably coming in September. And then when the season starts, I'm going to continue making a lot more videos, but it'll be quiet for the next like 5 or 6 days or so, just to give you guys a head up. Thank you so much for watching. Hope everybody enjoy a great week. I had an amazing weekend, one of the best weekends of my life. And I'm going to continue to have a good week and have a great August. And hope you guys enjoy the rest of your summer. So peace out. Love y'all.